Hi, everyone. Welcome to our market update. If you're first time here, please subscribe. If you have questions, I'm going to have the clicker going below. Actually, I'll let that go with our phone numbers. And then also, too, I'll have the clicker going below with active properties inventory. Before we get to rates, I kind of wanted to, talk about rates. Then I'm going to bring up what's going on with the market, David.
Overall, this week so far, rates have actually been coming down. It's been great. Like, there's been a lot of movement as far as rates moving down. There's been reprices for positive, which is good. That means whenever you get a reprice in the mortgage market for a positive, that means rates are actually improving. And this week has actually been really good for that. So that's good. I mean, if you go back to that site, there it is. Vinnie pulled it up. If you look at that, those are higher rates than the rates I have by a lot. But those are about 90% of your lenders out there. All your retail lenders have higher rates like this. Banks, credit unions, a lot of them have the higher rates like this. But there are some of them out there who sometimes will compete and become more competitive in the market. And with interest rates, I'm not going to say, I know we keep saying they're high, but the reality of it is from a historical standpoint, they're not high. It's just that you did experience the lowest rates in recorded history, and that's all anyone remembers now. And unfortunately, we're not going back to 2.5% and 3% interest rates. Like, if we get down to 5%, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, if we get to 5%. And look at, someone wanted to bring up, now this kind of gives pricing. I'm going off of detached, but across the board, the median sold price, look at that little jump that we had in January.
That's a lot. It's
we're back up to September, right? Everyone was like, oh, the dip.
What's funny is if people would have bought during that dip right there, Vinny, when me and you were talking about it, that would have been a great time, which, right around, let me guess, what is that, December and November?
Well, so yeah, December last year, 2023, we had the dip.
It's pretty much the same. Like, the market tends to dip. Usually, November, December, those are your best months to buy. And that stays consistent. Go over here to 2023 and show me that dip. Which one is that?
January.
Oh, January.
But also, too, we got to factor this in, right? We started seeing this, if memory serves me correctly, I think this is when we were still in like the threes, I think. And then we went down, we switched over to the fives, and then we saw that dip. And then we started getting better again. And then we went from 5 to 8, right?
Yeah, then we were almost at 8%. That was crazy.
Yeah, and then basically people adjusted to the 8%. The market was still going up, and then we started having that kind of a dip happen again. People are adjusting to it now. If rates go down, right, like you're talking about, to 5%.
I'm not saying 5%. I'm saying
if they go down,
lucky if we get that. Like, I'm still going to stay with my September, October is when you're probably going to see the rates finally start to really have some movement, like the last quarter of the year. Which actually would be great if it hit in October, because if you think about it, that's after the summer months, after peak buying season, and then it won't cause a frenzy of pushing all the home prices up during the summertime like our traditional markets.
Yeah, and then you guys look right here. We've been pretty consistent about basically 100% of listed sold. We're down to like 98. But again, people that are like, oh, the market's so soft right now, I can get a 10%, under list. Everything's relative. Some people overprice it, but on median, we're talking about around 99, 98, percent of list price, 100% of list price. So understand which property the situation is, but don't think you're going to get a crazy killer deal right now.
Do I still think you can get deals out there? Yeah, I do. It's just, I don't think you're not going to get 10% off. Can you pull up the stats to show the list to sold price? Is it still at 97?
Yeah, here, let me bring it back up again. Right now we're at 98.5 for the detached market. Let me see.
Oh, that's not bad. That means people are actually pricing the homes better now. So you're only at a 1.5% discount. Before we were at 3.
Yeah, even the attached market is at 98. Right?
So that's not bad. That means you're not selling at the discounts anymore, which is kind of good. Tomorrow is going to be interesting, Vinny, because tomorrow you have the jobs report that's coming out. And we didn't even talk about this, even though it was front page of the Wall Street Journal and a bunch of other things, was they actually found out for the last year, jobs were overestimated by 156,000 per month that were never created.
Oh, wow.
Did you see that? It was called the fake jobs news, fake jobs instead of fake news was fake jobs. And they came out and they did an audit and they said, oh, for the last year, there was actually 156,000 less jobs created per month.
Damn.
You know, the bummer about that is, shoot, if the Fed would have known that a year ago, they would have already lowered rates, because that would have shown that the labor market's not as strong as they really thought, which means it's more expensive for the normal person, which means you should lower rates. So
that'll be interesting to see how that affects, because I mean, yeah, that affects basically the market, I guess, tomorrow.
Oh, it is. Your tomorrow is your Bureau of Labor. That's going to come out. That's going to be your jobs report. That's going to be key. They're going to see if there's 170,000 jobs created in January. And for unemployment, let's touch on this, because me and you talked about this. If unemployment tomorrow stays at 4.1, you as a consumer don't want that, unfortunately. As a consumer, you want, like we talked about previously, you want unemployment to go up to force the Fed to lower rates and the bond market to come down to have lower interest rates. So, once again, I'm sad people are unemployed. I'm sad to see people lose their jobs. I don't like people suffering. But if you want a cheaper interest rate, you want the unemployment to go up tomorrow. So let's see what happens. I mean, that should be interesting. We'll see. It's at 4.1. Let's see if it hopefully goes up to 4.3.
And then, take a look at the clicker, guys. I want to say, we were about this time, about 4,000. Let me see some there fast. Active listening. Yeah, this is going to be not that good of a indicator. Yeah, it's not that good. Let me see how this is. Okay, I'm going to bring up this indicator, and this indicator is wrong because they pull it off of different data. But I still got to tell you. So look at, this is our inventory, right? For detached, townhomes, condos, all that kind of stuff. Now, no, the number's off. Their under is off. They have 4,000. The true number is the one that I have going before of 3,800. So a little off, but to give you kind of reference point, that inventory hasn't trickled back up yet. It's still,
I think more homes are going to come to market soon. That's my opinion.
It seems like we have drastic amount of inventory because we were so low. All last year, or actually that was the year before, but we were kind of slowly going upward. No one's going to buy. We'll see if we kind of jump back up to this 5 that we were kind of originally at.
Ooh, just as a side note, CoreLogic, which is extremely good data reporting service, its forecast, it's now releasing that it's going to estimate an average of 4.1% home appreciation per year. So
yeah,
that's lower than normal for us.
You just got to find out what's going to work for you. Here you go. How much is inability to get insurance canceling contracts? Is this going to be an issue in the future? Well, one thing that did change, right? One thing that did change last year was actually we had an official on the contract contingency for insurance. When the contract was changed at the end of last year, we added that kind of part of it. But yeah, what was it, like a year or so ago, maybe even before that, we were saying, okay, well, just get a quote for insurance at the end of it. Now it's like one of the first things. Hey, get a quote early on. Let's see.
That could be before you even write the contract, my friend.
Yeah, I think there are some people that aren't prepping themselves to get basically the numbers, and they're just kind of going off of kind of uncertainty, and that is happening. But for the more than likely, a lot with our clients, we're saying, hey, you know what? Let's get our insurance numbers ahead of time. Also, is it in a fire zone? Let's get that assessed right there. Let's understand that, because the fire zone is going to shoot up the number, right?
Massive.
Or if it's a flood zone, right? It's going to shoot up the number, right? So knowing those things before you buy the property are going to help you, give you a better ballpark of what's going to happen. The bigger thing is going to be the
high crime zone too. Even high crime zone, like.
Oh shit! Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, it's how it's assessed now is changing and how we're kind of dealing with insurance is changing.
I think it's going to come more into play in the next 6 months when you see the trickle down economics from the LA fires coming into play in our market, insurance premiums going up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with like the fair program. I did a video about that. All right, guys.
And then wait a minute. Dolphins winning the Super Bowl on Sunday?